Hi friends, welcome back to the vlog. We're doing another meal prep today, another meal in a jar. We can kind of create a little series off of this, huh? So this is going to be butternut squash soup prep, but this can also be used if you put no seasoning in it, just these ingredients, the carrots, the butternut squash, and the onions in the jar can be used as butternut pasta sauce. It's the basis for a lot of things. So I'm going to prepare this kind of like what I did in the previous video with the potato soup, which I told you that the potato soup was versatile. There's a lot of different things you can make with that. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to show you how I prepare it. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pot, and I'm going to put in some onion and garlic in here to saute. This is roughly based on the butternut squash soup recipe that I normally make. I will put a link to that down below. But this is how I build the ingredients in the jar so that I can just, when it's done, put it in the jar and puree it so I can, have my soup. So what I'm going to do now is put it on the stove for this to saute. Okay, we're back. We have the garlic and onion sauteed. So what I'm going to add now is carrots. These have been peeled and cleaned and cubed because I'm trying to maintain consistency in the shape in the jar so it all cooks the same. We're not going to cook this all the way through because it's going to pressure cook, but yes, we're going to add that in there, and then we're going to add our butternut squash. Okay, I should do it this way. It'll probably be easier. This is such a delicious soup. It's one of my favorites. It's another recipe I learned when I was volunteering at Milk Street Kitchen. It's an Indian spice butternut squash soup. But like I said, you can do all of this sans the spices and use this as like a base for a butternut squash pasta, like a butternut squash macaroni and cheese and, all that good stuff. And I tried to be even about how I cubed them, that they were all similar shapes and sizes. It's also easy to fit in the jars as well. All right, so we're going to mix that all the way through, and I'm going to put this back on the stove. And for liquid, because I'm sure you're curious, for liquid, I'm going to add some chicken broth. So I will put that on the stove and I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to put it in the jars. One last thing I forgot to mention, you guys. This is the seasoning that I'm going to be using. This is a Moroccan spice. It has in it the same ingredients. It has coriander, paprika, cumin, cardamom, cinnamon, black pepper, red pepper, turmeric, ginger, nutmeg, clove, and allspice. It's a delicious seasoning. I also use this when I make crispy chickpeas, which I might make that on the channel. You guys let me know down below if you want to see that. Crispy chickpeas is good for a snack. It's good to put on your salads. So yeah, I use that. There's also a garam masala. You can also use that spice blend as well. But yeah, this is just what I have on hand, and you know how I am about using what you have. But garam masala, if you have that, that can work as well. Okay, so this is hot and fresh off the stove. Now we're going to pack it into the jars. And what I'm using is a 1.5 pint mason jar. I know I tell you this all the time, guys, but this smells so good. I don't know how much I'm gonna get into these. Maybe I might not need, well, let me not speak too soon. I'm loving the shape of these jars. I hear that this is not easy to find, which just mason jars in general, for me, I don't know if I'm a little late in the game, but or that it's just that popular, but I don't feel like mason jars are very easy to find overall, and they're expensive, you know? Crazy. Okay, I think I'm going to switch out this jar because it's not filling up the whole way. I think we can get away with 3 and a regular pint. Okay, so now we are debubbling, and I just like to go along the sides. I don't want to get in here too much because, here we go. Bubbling off the sides there. That's good to go. You know what you could also do is you could take the butternut squash just as a standalone and put it in like that maple syrup, and maybe some broth, and make yourself some sweetened butternut squash, kind of like how they do the sweet potatoes. You could do like some candied butternut squash. There's all kinds of things you could do with this in a jar, guys. Okay, so now I am going to clean off the rims as per usual. The residue and stuff off from the handling of the jars. You got a little bit of here. Clean it all the way because we want a good seal. And bloop, 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 bloop. Okay. And I'm going to get fingertip tight. Fingertip tight. And That's pretty much it, you guys. So you could alternatively, instead of putting this in jars, you can put them in super cubes, freeze them, and then you'll have this ready to go in the freezer for food preservation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the canner and I'm going to process it for I gotta check. I think the butternut squash is like 35 minutes or so. So I'm gonna process it in the canner. Um, but yeah, you guys can either freeze it or this is good to go. You can put it in your fridge if you're gonna use it within the week. But there's the recipe. I hope you guys use it and I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching. Take care, friends.